For most of human history, you were born, and that was it. Your DNA was fixed, your strengths and weaknesses were inherited, and your future was shaped by chance. But that rule no longer holds. Because for the first time in history, humans have been changing what it means to be born. Not in science fiction, not in theory, but in real hospitals with real children right now. When people hear the phrase designer humans, they imagine the extremes. Super intelligence, perfect bodies, engineered superiority. But that's not how the story begins. It begins with prevention. For decades, genetic science focused on one moral justification above all others: stopping suffering. Inherited diseases that killed children, conditions that destroyed families, and genetic flaws no one chooses, but some are forced to live with. And eventually science offered something radical. What if we didn't just treat the diseases? What if we prevented it from existing at all? See, in the UK, doctors quickly crossed the historic line, using technology known as mitochondrial donation, sometimes called three-person IVF. Doctors created 8 children, 4 boys, 4 girls, who would not inherit devastating genetic diseases. The children were born healthy, and the change wasn't cosmetic, it was genetic.
The first UK baby created with DNA from 3 people has been born in a process to prevent children from inheriting incurable diseases. The mitochondrial donation treatment, or MDT, uses tissue from the eggs of healthy female donors to create embryos that are free from harmful mutations their mothers carry.
The altered DNA would be passed on. No superpowers, no enhancements, just healthier children. Most people heard this and felt a relief. And the reaction makes sense. If we can stop suffering, why wouldn't we? But something important happened here. Humanity accepted the idea that altering inherited biology is sometimes the right thing to do. And once that idea is accepted, the door doesn't close. For years, scientists insisted there was a line, a boundary that should never be crossed. Editing human embryos, changing the genetic code of future generations, everyone agreed it was too dangerous, too unethical, and too irreversible, until someone crossed it.
Chinese researcher He Jiankui claimed to have made the world's first genetically edited babies. He altered the DNA of twin girls to try to make them resistant to infections with the HIV and AIDS virus, despite this practice being illegal and many scientists being against it in the first place. Scientists now have a tool that could alter you before you are born. It's called CRISPR.
In 2018, a Chinese scientist stood before the world and made a claim that sounded impossible. He said he had created the world's first gene-edited baby. Not embryos, not lab samples, babies. Using CRISPR gene editing technology, he claimed to have altered their DNA before birth. At its core, CRISPR is a genetic editing technology. It allows scientists to locate a specific piece of DNA, cut it, and change it. Think of DNA like a sentence. CRISPR lets scientists delete a word, replace it, or rewrite it entirely. Originally discovered in bacteria, CRISPR was designed by nature as a defense system. Humans adapted it and turned it into a tool that can cure diseases, edit embryos, and permanently change what gets passed to future generations. CRISPR doesn't just treat lives, it edits. The announcement wasn't celebrated, it detonated, with the scientists being sentenced to 3 years in prison. Scientists condemned it, governments reacted, the experiment was halted, the scientist was later imprisoned, and the world told itself a comforting story. This was just a one-time mistake, a rogue actor, an outlier if you will. The story avoids the real lesson. The lesson wasn't that gene-edited babies are impossible, it was that they are possible. And when something is possible, it doesn't disappear. Designer babies force a question humanity has never been able to answer. What makes a human acceptable? Is it health, intelligence, emotional stability, obedience? And who decides? Doctors, governments, parents, markets? Once traits can be chosen, traits can also be rejected. And rejection creates hierarchy. In the 20th century, the world learned a brutal lesson about eugenics. The idea that some lives are more valuable than others, that lesson was written in suffering. Designer babies risk reviving that same logic, but this time quietly, clinically, and voluntarily. At first, designer baby technology will be expensive, which means that access will be limited. The wealthy will enhance first, healthier immune system, lower disease risk, better cognitive potential. This isn't earned, this is purchased. This creates something humanity has never experienced before, a permanent biological class divide, not just rich and poor, but optimized and unoptimized. For most of history, children were accepted as they were, born with a chance and loved without conditions. Designer babies change that relationship. When traits are chosen, expectations follow. What happens when a child doesn't meet the design? When optimization doesn't produce perfection? Failure starts to feel like fault. You see, most technology can be undone. Policies can be changed, laws can be repelled. Genetics can't. Once a change enters the human gene pool, it propagates. Mistakes don't disappear, they multiply. A world where genetics influence opportunity, where biologically predicts success, where humans are evaluated before they are even born, not through violence but through systems, not through hatred but through optimization. The danger of designer babies isn't monsters or superhumans, it's normalization. The slow shift from accepting life to engineering it. When humans become products, someone always controls the design. Every taboo humanity has ever broken followed the same pattern. First it's unthinkable, then it happens once, then it's condemned, then it's controlled, then it's normalized. The world didn't stop gene editing, it stopped talking about it publicly. So here we are now. On one side, genetic intervention to prevent disease is already accepted. On the other, the technology to edit humans has already been proven. Between these 2 points lies something far more dangerous than science fiction: normalization. Designer humans didn't begin with enhancements, they began with compassion, and that's what makes what comes next impossible to stop.